Welcome. Welcome to Sunday's topic, which is a D-Man Fitty in here, a couple other sets of eyeballs. Got 4 sets going up. What was my coming up empty on the benefits of marriage for 300 Trebet? Someone's got to set me straight. Somebody has got to set me straight. Just got done with a bike ride. Did a 7-miler, little muggy, but I made it. My legs were fine. Got some crappy sleep last night, but it is what it is. We are in for the fight. So anyhow, I was thinking about this riding my bike today. I was listening to a Tom Likas episode. Been in a Likas lately. I've listened to him for years. But this one particular episode was a guy that was 20 getting married after he knew her for 6 months. And the uncle and the other cousin are trying to convince him he's an idiot, which I would get in that wagon too. He is an idiot. So I was thinking and Tom Likas was asking him, hey, so what are you going to get if you get married? And this guy's like, a piece of paper and a ring. And Tom Likas says, well, what's behind the paper? The paper basically says the next stop after marriage is divorce court. You're pretty much screwed and the ring will get pawned and so forth. And this kid could not come up with any benefits of marriage, even though he was in love with the fantasy of getting married. Hence, we all were at some point those that got married. Or we at least thought that. Patriots won in the house. Good to see you, brother. Jawara is back, fixing his HHR. So let's talk about it. Number one, people get married to have exclusive access to intimacy, sexual contact, sexual relations. Now, I'm going to say that 99% of marriages, there's a 1%. I'm not a fatalist, so don't hold me to fatalism. There's a 1% of marriages, or maybe a half of 1% that have made it through just the anomaly of people. These are the 99.95%. So let's talk about it. Shout out to Rusty Rivers. Eric Zombro is back. Hope you're good. Always remember, Likas advocated for mandatory DNA tests. Yes, he did, my friend. Good to see you. So you think that access to intimacy in your bedroom every single night or in the morning, because you guys are always there sleeping in the same bed, making pancakes and waffles and cappuccinos together, and it's there and you're lovey-dovey. Well, let me tell you something. The sex dries up, as we all know. So getting married for the purpose of constant, easy access sexual intimacy is not truth. Reality is it dries up very quickly. In my marriage, there was at least once to twice a week. I wanted it every day when I got married, but that doesn't happen. So at least for up to 6 months before we got divorced, there was at least once to twice a week. So I was a lucky one. It seemed like I was just, it seemed like she wasn't really into it. It was more of a chore for her. But she at least was gracious enough to lend me her body for a few minutes. Number two, this is a big one, meals. Having a good cook. Again, my experience is different. Mine like to cook. Mine like to make dinner. Mine came from a family of foodies, so she really enjoyed making that. Now, most of the marriages in the last 15 years, the wife doesn't like to cook as much, maybe once a week. And a lot of the gals getting married that are under 30 don't even know how to use a microwave. So the meals are not going to be there. You're going to be pretty much on your own, most likely, let's say after the first 12 to 18 months, taking care of your own food needs. I'm going to take a payout for the HHR, get something else. Get yourself a Toyota or Lexus. I'm not a fan of the American products. I've had them, and I just think that the Toyota and the Lexus cars are the absolute most reliable cars on the planet. You might pay a little bit more, but that's what I would suggest. Mysterio from Winnipeg is back. Did you just pop up or send a notification? Just popped up, and I'm glad you guys caught it. You guys are the rare ones. MJT78, back in the house. Afternoon to you. Mr. E is back. My marriage was every day. If she didn't give it to me, she knew I would go out and find it. Good for you. One time I said, I think we were married like 10 years. I said, to have intimacy with my ex-wife, sometimes 20% was decent, and the rest of it seemed like a chore, or it was like, I'm really tired, or I have cramps, I don't feel right, I'm bloated. It was always some excuse, or the kids needed something at 11 o'clock. What does an 8-year-old need at 11:30 at night? Or I got to finish the show, and then the next show. But anyhow, lucky, I used to say, I don't know. I'm not going to say it. It rhymes with computer and pooter and cooter. My marriage was every day. Okay, I just read that mystery. Divorce rate, 55% in the West. Patriots won. I think it's higher than that. I just think they're not letting us in. Mysterio, people get married for intimacy and for personal happiness. That's another thing. Let's go to that next comment. Lone Wolf is back. The classic, these women have too many options. They get 500 messages a day on social media. Yes, they do, Lone Wolf. Good to have you, brother. Okay, I'll find a big Toyota. Find yourself a 4Runner. That's what I have. That's what Timmy Kramer has. Great cars. The third thing, respect. This is a big one. Respect goes down the drain. I'm guaranteed respect goes down the drain the day you propose. And when the wedding day comes, you shut your mouth and you get behind everybody else and put your wife on a pedestal and worship her as she disrespects you for worshiping her. Isn't it weird how that works? Respect goes down. Respect, and I'm not talking respect in terms of you're an ass. I'm talking if a car breaks down and you're a mechanic, she'll ask the neighbor what's wrong with the car. She'll ask her brother-in-law. She never asks you for the advice. I remember that would happen all the time. Like we had a stove that went out, needed a new thermal unit, thermal something in the stove. I had to buy a new unit. My brother knows how to put electrical units in. These, a stove oven combo, there's some serious current behind that. And she says, do you know what you're doing? And I said, absolutely. My brother's got electrician. He's basically a apprentice electrician. He's going to put the unit in. It's got the same connections. Well, I'm going to go ask Brian, our neighbor. Brian, our neighbor, was an anesthesiologist or a nurse anesthetist, which is a low-level anesthesiologist. The guy doesn't even know how to change a tire. He can give you an epidural, but he doesn't know how to change a tire. So I think respect is the biggest non-benefit. You do not get respected in marriage. Outside of the physical, the sex, the meals, the caressing of a man. Hey, you worked your ass off for 12 hours today. I'll put your feet up. Let me give you a 5-minute foot rub. Oh, and here's your favorite beer. And I made you a turkey sandwich that's hot and it's got, hot. It's all ready to go. That's what I'm talking about. Twice a week is very good. 7 days a week is unrealistic. I agree. But as a 24-year-old, that's what we all were jumping at the bit for, right? Thanks, Mysterio. Joe Legendary John Boston is back in the house. He's got a couple friends getting married. Oh, they see the benefits already, don't they? Whack job. And again, if you get married, a second marriage later in life, this is just my personal opinion. You get married a second time after you have kids and she has kids, you're an idiot. There is no absolute reason to get married in that regards. I think the only reason you would want to get married is if you found an anomaly that made more money than you, and you were unable to work and needed health insurance or something stupid like that. I still wouldn't even do it for that, but some guys have to do that. I know a couple. SCE is back. Good to see you. Mouth Agape is back. Good to see Mouth. Did I put Mouth up there? There you go. Greetings to you. SCE says respect. That's funny. There you go. Again, please, somebody set me straight. Show to me the benefits. Kids as a father, raising your kids as a father. Very difficult today. Very difficult to structure and raise your kids with discipline. You know why? It's toxic. And toxic is a subset of the domestic violators. Yes, you heard it from Rad first. I remember going in counseling. If you roll your eyes at your wife as you're walking down the hall because you're upset at each other, that is a subset or a subvariant of domestic violators. Think about that. So kids, are you able to raise your kids with structure and discipline today? No. No, you're not. You're supposed to sit back, earn your money, and shut your mouth up while your kids run wayward. Why are a lot of us mismatched? There you go. Divorce rate for second marriage is around 70%. Yeah, I'd say 70 to 80%, Mr. E. And third and subsequent marriages are in the 90 percentile. Now, why would it be a 20%? Why would it be 70% second marriages? I'll tell you why. A lot of guys will get married the second time to prove to the world and to their ex and to the ex-in-laws and their family and their friends that they got value still. And for them to get divorced a second time means the walk of shame. Not once, but twice. And the second time a walk of shame is horrible. I know guys that have been married the second time. They're still miserable, but they will not get divorced because they do not want to tell their friends again that they have been divorced a second time. There's a stigma. And most times the marriage is worse than the first time. Everything in life expires one way or another, just like yogurt. Well said, brother. Patriot says, having kids seems also irrational. There are millions of kids that you can adopt and give them a good life. A lot of kids out there, guys. A lot of kids. So kids is a big deal, especially today's day and age. You can't spank kids. You go to jail. You can't discipline kids. You can't raise your voice at kids because now it's abusive. Remember, if you tell a kid or an ex-wife, no, we're not going to do this, that is abusive. That's not discipline anymore. That's not discipline. When I grew up, we had a belt and a stick my dad had. He'd come home and we'd be all upset, in the 70s, rambunctious, and he'd go for that, he'd look like he could be taking his belt off. He'd grab the buckle and we'd all run away. That's all he had to do. So we got sex. Benefits of marriage, you get a lot of sex. We'll go ahead and write that off the list. That is a false negative, a false positive. Is that what we call it? John Boston says, I rolled my eyes and my ex tried to use it as a reason that she should have sulk. There you go. Subset of the DV. A counselor said that. You can't even say no. I remember someone said in therapy, I heard this, that because the guy said that he told his wife that she had burned the casserole, that was considered, again, another subset of the DV. How's the casserole? Well, it's a little burned. And she ran through a fit and called her therapist. Microaggressions, I'll show some big old aggressions. Actually, there, microaggressions, mouth agape. There you go. We got to do that. I hope my videos get back to me, where we have the part 1 and part 2. Kids, okay, but let's go for the next. Care of each other's happiness and well-being. Caring for each other. 99% of people really don't give a F about each other. They think they do in public, but behind closed doors, they can't stand one another. They don't want to be around one another. They don't like each other. They stay married for the kids or for the stigma or for the money. The biological drive to produce your own offspring is irrational, but that's what drives the species. SCE, laying it down to Chinatown. Well said, brother. Rather, there's an epidemic of 50-year-old women marrying guys with good jobs. I sent you a couple of my own. Yes, you did. If a man marries a 50-year-old, he's next level simp king. Simp king for 300, Trebek. Rusty River says, if rolling eyes is domestic, I wonder what driving my truck to the garage and smashing the back of the house would be categorized as. Domestic T as in rare arrest. Wouldn't want to do that. You know, the only really thing, the guys say, I can't convince my wife. I can't make her see. I can't use logic. You can't do anything. Shut your mouth and leave. That's all you can do. You start trying to defend your position and you could end up in the back of a cruiser because somebody feels unsafe in their safe space. Even though you bought the house, you pay for the house, you put everything in it, provide, it's not your place. I think as I grow older, I want more respect and I want love. Well, we know love doesn't exist. Romantic love is a fallacy. It does not exist. It's bullshit. Loving a person for the fact that you would love them unconditionally. I love guy friends. I got friends that I love. I love you, brother. Love my sisters. But romantic love is something I've realized that it just doesn't exist. If it all existed and all those warm fuzzies, we'd all still be married. Benefit of marriage with kids is that you see your kids grow up and you see them daily and talk to them. I will never forgive my ex for the damages she did to the kid. Me too, brother. And that is probably the only benefit, if you can maintain, is seeing your kids. But if you have a crappy marriage and the kids see that, is it worth staying? Do they have a good example of what it's like? That's the only benefit, to see your kids every day. We could hide these small National Geographic mags as a cushion from getting a spanking. There you go. I did Cub Scouts. Went to Cub Scout camp. Me and my brother all the time. Yeah, it was fun. Got all my awards. Became a Weebelo, and then became a Boy Scout. And I'm an Eagle Scout, by the way. I don't know if it's just me, but every time I see a married couple with kids, the wife is always out in front of the man. He's following her with the kids. Well, again, lack of respect. McTow and Finney, I'm good to have you, brother. That's what it is. Remember, I'm strong and independent. You go, girl. Stay on the Oprah diet. They are on the Oprah diet. And the Oprah diet says she is number one. She don't need to respect you. She can get any man she wants. You get in line and you do exactly what she says. Care of each other. And finally, this is the big one. Who gives in? Somebody eventually will lose. There's a power struggle within marriage. There's no such thing as the EQUALITY. There's no such thing as being counterparts that are equal in marriage. None. Someone has to cave in. But for someone who is anti-marriage, then adopting could be an option. Millions of kids with no parents that need home. I agree. I mean, look, if you really want to be a good parent and adopt, the only problem is if you are a man raising a kid, you're going to have a Karen down the street that's going to call the child protective as CPS on you. It's taboo. That would be the only probably issue that I would see. But I agree. I mean, there's kids out there that come from two drugged out families and they need love and they need to be raised properly. Men walking behind their wife and kids is a protection thing. Well said. That goes back to our biology, Mr. E. Last time, did you ever see caveman paintings, caveman pictures? The caveman is always in front, then the wife, then the kids. The last time I got the BET in the early 80s, I shoved my dad when he was yelling at me. Oh, the belt. He gave me the belt and I just desensitized it and not cry for a good 17 years. Yeah. I think we learned I think about 7 or 8 is when the belt went away in my family. Realist Vision says we're given a reason for your channel being taken down. Yes. What a shit show. Half the crap being pumped out of the Hollywood should be shut. 90% of these channels should be shut down. The Transformer channels, they're showing their packages. These new fake packages on videos. That's worse than prawn. I got taken down for election fraud 2020, which I really didn't say a lot. I think I just said I question it. That's it. And now they've reversed that, by the way. So I've reappealed. So we'll see what happens. The concept of romantic love is a relatively new approach to marriage. Only been around for barely 200 years. 100%. I think it's less than that, Rusty Rivers. I think it's about 100 years. My grandparents, both, my grandfather died at almost 104. My grandmother died earlier. Both of them came from 17, 18 kid families. Those families got together. They had so many kids because they had to take care of the land. There's no such thing as automobiles back in those days in the early 1900s. My grandfather told me his first car was a horse. They had to cut ice out of the lake and store it until July with hay, from the field to keep it cold. Little House on the Prairie is basically how they live. You guys ever seen that show? But yeah, they got together for survival. And then the idea of love came sometime down the road. Somebody wrote probably some romantic novel in the 1800s, and oh my gosh, we need to show our emotions to one another. No, the man chose the woman that had nice childbearing hips so that she could bear 18 kids, and then she chose the man because he was strong and he worked by the sweat of his brow to plow the land from 4 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night every night. That's why they got together. But you're absolutely right, Rusty. Who do you think broke up more in your lifetime, your parents' generation or I think Gen X. I think Gen X. Could be off, though. My dad threw a shoe around a corner and chased me down the hall if he couldn't get his back. That happened to my brother. Oh, man. Those were the days. Like, there was no such thing. If they called the police, it'd be like the cop would show up, the one guy cop. They now have partners. A lot of these are two sets of cops now. But the cops show up. Well, my dad whipped me with the belt. Keep on keeping on. He'd leave, right? But anyhow, in the end, one caves in. We live in a world where parenthood is encouraged. Yes, we do. We tattletaling on everything. Oh my gosh, he looked at me wrong. I'm calling. I feel unsafe. Get me in my safe space, please. I'm unsafe. He didn't call me the right word. I feel so. I don't know what to do. This is the world we live in. Thank you, Ben Shapiro, for going in front of colleges and throwing down and destroying the woke activist arguments and the Crowders, even though Crowder's got some personal issues, I hear. And who's the other guy? Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Jericho Green. At least we got some voices out there. But you're absolutely right, SCE. Rad, for the record, I'm still pissed that you lost your channel. Yeah. I don't even know if we have rights on YouTube. It's a license agreement, right? I did hear that if you own a Ferrari, off topic, you have to sign a license agreement. If you bought the Ferrari from a dealer or from Ferrari corporate, there's an actual license agreement. You cannot modify the car without the express written permission of Ferrari. You cannot put bumper stickers on it, tints, anything different. You cannot touch it unless they have approved it. Which, two things, maintains the brand, right? And it makes people feel like they're part of a club. But, the owner is just, he's the licensee of a car that he purchased. And if you violate any of those terms, if you retune it, they will deny the warranty. And you'll be unable to buy another Ferrari again from, unless you bought third party. Mr. E says they show naked yoga. Yes, it's soft prawn. I mean, they show everything. Here I am trying to, and I did this, and I'm not bitching and moaning because eventually people don't like this talk. People say that this talk is toxic because men helping men men should be in a corner, all boozed up with a potential cold piece of metal so that they leave this earth and people can come in and vulture their money and their possessions to give to, divorced exes and so forth, and to continue this trajectory that men are disposable. It's really that simple. The quickest way for you to become disposable is to get married, cohabitate, or have children in today's age. Now, I'm not anti-kids. I got 3 of them. But the reality is, it's very difficult it was very difficult to raise kids with my ex-wife because she was strong and independent. She did not respect the patriarchal authority as I respected her matriarchal authority. And I'll give you an example. My dad and my mother were always on the same page. I'd say, Dad, can I spend the night, with my friend? And he'd be like, if your mom says yes, then I'm fine. Or I'd ask my mom, hey, I want to spend the night. If your dad says yes, then it's okay with me. Like they were always on the same page. If I said no, my ex would always overturn. And she's still defending my daughter today at 24 and a half. She will not allow the daughter to be her own person. Romantic love can be sustained from 20 to not, can't be sustained. My parents are not lovey-dovey at all, but they are still together. Yeah, my parents didn't like each other for a long time, but I think that all of their trials and tribulations got them to a point where they truly love each other. And I think that spark, they're more loving today than I've ever seen them. And I just saw them a couple weeks ago. See something, say something. Attaboy, Rusty. We're turning into it. Looking at humanity and the woke brigade, I really don't see a way back now, says Realist. No. Guys, it ain't going back. The only thing you can do is work on yourself. Do you think that society should stop inventing things to give the economy a break? Yeah. I mean, people are getting tired of the wokeism. They really are. Quit inventing a new term, a new this, a new that. If a couple get past all the romantic love baloney, there's a chance to develop a devotion and commitment, but it rarely happens anymore. T-Talk L-Bags. Good to have you, brother. You're absolutely right. It's very, very, very rare. That's why I give it a 0.5%, 0.5 to 1% that it works. Rad doing the Lord's work. Appreciate it. On a Sunday. Shout out to E. Rad, I have a good sense of humor. We're just trying to keep it real. All empires fall and all systems reset. Well said, Rusty. Look at Rome. Greatest civilization on earth. What happened to Rome? Rad, of course, these hosts promote their views, but everything is subjected to the PSYOPs program known as interactive internet activities. Lots of information trackers embedded. Yeah, I'm sure we're all on a list somewhere, guys. What was your calamity in life, Rad? Well, I wanted to help men become better, to be more productive, and to have good lives, and that would help humanity. That's not what was part of the order. The order was men were disposable. You are stopping that. FJT in the house. I'm super busy. Just want to come by and say salute to you, brother. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you being here, FJT. Check out FJT's channel. He's got some funny voicemails from some wackadoodles. Lazarus says, I think most men get married because they find no meaning or purpose in life. Ooh, I can see that 100%, brother, unless they're serving a woman. It takes a while to realize that she doesn't want to serve you. 100%. I'm going to say men have an idea. Delusional. Men have an idea to be a provider and a protector. We actually, if we had a wife that was a co-pilot, that basically respected us, wanted us to be the man of the family, the provider, the protector, that does give us part of, and I don't want to say the word ego boost, but that kind of aligns with what our biology is. Unfortunately, women don't allow us to be the the protector. And we're not a good provider anymore because we don't make what they think we should make. That's why guys that are married go get 2-3 jobs so they can afford the house so the wife's happy. But in the end, she disrespects him. Rusty Shackle Ford. Did I say that right? Let it die. Sit back and let it burn. Good to have you. Where are you from? Everything woke turns to Shia. I would agree with that. Nick Vincent's in the house. Just seen Will Catch on reply. Thanks for coming back, Rad. Good to see you, Nick. Appreciate you subscribing. I'm on multiple lists. I hope Miss Mouthagape. Well, if you're a beard, you are. Anyone with a beard's on a list, that's for sure. If I remember right, marriages that last 20 years are more around 17%. Yeah. I mean, people say to me, with all the knowledge I have about experience, even post, pre-marriage, during marriage, divorce, post-divorce, post 8+ years, I have one check left and I am done with child support. One more check. And they say, would you go back to it? Absolutely not. I mean, I've changed massively that I see no benefit. Coach Craig Adam, he's off the rails with that's why he makes his money. He makes probably $3,000, $2 to $3,000 each time he live streams. But I have no desire because I don't see the benefits anymore. You can get intimacy without getting married or living with somebody or paying for it. It's not hard. You can get meals prepared for you. You can get your laundry done. You can have somebody come in and clean your home, but they don't even cook and clean anymore. So that doesn't even matter. But what I'm saying is, why would you tie yourself to something that is not on your purpose? And as an older gentleman at 51, almost 51, I'm not going to let people get in my way of what I wanted to do. I sacrificed raising my kids, going through divorce for 24 years. So now it's Rad's time. Now, I never thought that it would be Rad's time. I always thought I would take care of my kids, my wife and I, after the kids left the nest, we do our thing, the grandkids would come. I never really thought about what my time could be now, but now I do. I remember you saying you play guitar. Do you play electric or acoustic? Realist Vision, I got my electric one right here. I got my Fender Strat. And I do have an acoustic, but I prefer playing electric because I like to whammy it. I like metal. SCE says, the way to keep you always confused so you can never develop any plans or of attack against the forces that destroy you. Well said, brother. If there are so many people supporting wokeism, why has the Budsters, the Targetsters, and other running scared? I don't know. The guy from Shark Tank came out, Kevin, Mr. Wonderful, and just said, you guys are idiots getting involved in politics. It'll destroy your brand. And nobody, are they listening? No. It's the same thing as trying to convince your ex-wife or your wife or somebody to listen to you. They don't. They follow their emotions. Remember, the economy runs on feelings. Now, it does not run on facts. Nick Vincent, co-pilot, wingmate, you're spot on. That's the thing. I'm not anti-marriage. I see no benefits in it. There are no co-pilots anymore. The man is the pilot in my book, and it will always be. If the woman is the pilot, you're completely flip-flopped. Biology does not align with that. The masculine is the pilot. The feminine is the co-pilot. Thank you, E, brother. You guys all have, look at my beard. That's 6 days. I only go 6-7 days and trim it down. T-Talk says, wokeism pisses him off. Yes, it does, brother. You get no benefit. Most married couples end up fat and out of shape. I see them ordering fast food every day. Oh, my sister's one of them. And her husband, together they weigh over 600 pounds. I think 650 together. Is there a goatee club? I'm sure I'm on a few lists. My synonym here has been on the ADL list. There you go. My ex started with the, I'm not happy. I said you have children over a roof. And it don't work. What do you want? Now she has to pay for a roof over, and the kids are unhappy. Well, you can't fix stupid, John, as we know. You and I have spoken. Yeah, Hammer's been doing some good. I like his little shorts he's been doing. How much do you think that average man and woman should make? I say at least 50 grand minimum for Canadians. Yeah, I mean 50 to. If you're a dude and you don't get involved in any of this crap and you're a minimalist, you can live very well on 50,000. I mean, you could get an apartment for, I don't know, $1,000 or buy something. You don't need a lot. Maple neck on that strap. Not too shabby, brother. I had to get it I had to have the frets all redone. I mean, I've played it a lot. It's 28 years old. Is it 20? No, 24 years old. The original amp went out. Couldn't fix that, but I got a small little Black Star. The thing's great. Metal, hell yeah, MJT. Gone with John is in the house. Good to see you, brother. Shout out to you. Check out his channel. He does some fun stuff. I like his Tom Leykis recaps. Have you ever let yourself grow a beard for the kids? No. I just, it gets nuts. Itchy. I have grown a goatee, though. Yep, that female. Oh, here's the thing. Who was doing this? Somebody was doing, and I want to give credit. I was watching it last night. She was their very first diversity hire, and in 1 year, the brand loses 30%. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. The first diversity hire for Bud Light marketing, and within a year, it's destroyed. Are we seeing a pattern here with countries being run through diversity? Are we seeing a pattern with companies? The gal that ran HP ran it into the ground. Carly Fiorina or whatever her name was. Well said, John. Well said. So come July, all rad kids are off. End of June. End of June. You're right. Yes, my sister's about 280, and her boyfriend or her husband is about 325. So 605. They might be a little bit heavier. Yeah, it's unfortunate. At least they didn't have kids. The gentleman that played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat was 60. Bro was married from 30 to 37. Learned the first time. Hope all is well, Rad. Good to see you, Brian Renard. Brian's been in the chat for years. As a lot of you guys have been. So again, what are the benefits of marriage? Sex dries up. You can't count on that. Meals, unless your lady's a foodie and loves to cook, good luck. Respect, now that's out the window before marriage happens. Kids, the only benefit with kids is seeing them every day, as John Boston and a couple of you guys have said, but you're going to have to deal with the fact that you can't be a father to them because somebody will intercept everything you do. I always said that my ex was constantly policing me in my duty as a father. And, you know, when I was young, that's what happened. So the Reverend living free. I saw the Rev. I saw his setup yesterday. Looking good, Rev. He's driving around in a good thing about Rev. He's a mechanic and he's driving around in a GM vehicle, and he's got a damn alternator ready for in case it goes out. He's already probably got a brand new battery, so it's alternator or starter, right? I just replaced the alternator 6 months ago on my kid's car. It cost me $200 and it 4 hours, but I like doing it and saved probably another $1,200. Not too hard to do. Although the Japanese have the smallest hands, I'm telling you. We'll check that out, SCE. I love white G-Shock. Yes, this is a G-Shock. I got it in 2019. Went to Colombia with it. I paid $78 on Amazon for it. It's 4 years old. I just replaced the battery. It's a little, you can tell it's getting, I might have to get a new band, but I love the thing, and especially white. So shout out to Gone with John for liking the G-Shock. Rad, do you search on the corporations that have blank CEOs and notice a distinct pattern? Absolutely. In my industry, most of our marketing people are non-men, and most of them, the majority, 99% are divorced. Karens, box wine, Botox, you name it. Very difficult to deal with, and they don't know how to market. Unfortunately, they do these they follow the hive when it comes to marketing. That's all I'm going to say. My local town hired a diversity manager. June is Skittles month. It's a waste of time. They're coming up with the dumbest titles. Do people really care? Now, I just found out North Face has some commercial playing right now during the month of June. North Face, a balls out climbing type of climb mountains in Everest and all this crap, and now they're doing it. Who's next? Harley? I bet Harley already has one. I would say both, Mysterio. But I was a skater. So I ran it all. Zero benefits, says Mile High Ronan. Good to see you, brother. No co-hab, no kids, no marriage. And I'm not anti-marriage. I just don't believe in it. And I see no benefits in it. I want people to help me to see that I'm mistaken. I want to be mistaken. I really do. Hercules. The financial system, specifically mortgages, have mostly been organized to lend couples of two income systems. Those institutions need to start conforming to lending to single men. Yes, I remember when I was doing my title for my house, they said, is your wife going to be on it? I said, I do not have one. Timmy Kramer, the forever bachelor in Scottsdale, divorce parties are quite common. You go, girl. And they burn the dress probably. Single men are more likely to pay our debts. Hard truth. Yep. That's why I try to stay out of the system. If you can do gig work, if you can find ways, seasonal work, so that you don't have, and you can live good. I mean, Rev, our brother Rev, is out mobile right now and living in a van, showing people it can be done. He makes a great, healthy pension from his military. I'm sure he does some odd jobs here and there. He's got a lot of saved up, but he finds minimalism and freedom driving all over. He's going to go see the guys up in Canada and Alaska and California. You don't need a lot. You don't even need it. I mean, I'm getting rid of this house. It's not part of my plan. I want to see the world and experience people, life, and culture. Shot of 78. Attaboy, Timmy. Harley Davidson is doing the new Bud Light. I heard they're doing that with the Bud Light. Someone said the only way that Bud can really remove the stigma is they have to detach themselves and become the original Budweiser from Anheuser-Busch or whatever, the German company that owns them. InBev. And then it's going to be a long road from there. Women invented divorce parties. Men invented buying boats and sports cars. Men would rather spend their money, think about this, on things that bring them enjoyment. Motorcycles, fast cars, boats, cold metal, you name it. Women like to spend their money on ways to look younger. That doesn't bring joy. So remember, women, 90% are in the HR department. Yeah, that is absolute fact, unless they're Toby from The Office. Box wine, cat chow, chicks can't run. Well said, Jawara. Well said. Karen's and Becky's. Gone with John says gig work for life. Attaboy. You know, here's the funny thing. You can go paint houses for a summer. I did that for a summer back in summer before I got married. And I made like $35,000. Me and my buddy painted. He had a company. He had the sprayers and the ladders. Made $35,000. We worked every day from 7 till 7. $35,000 cash at the end of the year. We were painting about 1 to 2 houses a week. Some were big, some were small, but we were killing it. And you could literally, and I knew another guy that lived in Brazil for 6 months, and in the summer he'd come back and he'd paint, and then he'd be done. He'd make his 50, 60,000 and move back to Brazil come back for the next little bit. So there's a lot of things you can do in the gig life, right? Marty Bernard is back. Good to see you, brother. Hope all is well. I don't know why HR, even in my industry, the revenue cycles, there's very little men that run it. A lot of my vice presidents are female. Brad, look at that 56-year-old I sent you. She's now on a dating site. When she was 20, she couldn't walk down the street without a man chasing her. She's 56, man. That wall there's a psychological wall. There's a chronological wall. There's a physical wall. There's a financial wall. And she's hitting them all. Women would disapprove. What would they call them? You don't have a house. You don't have a nice car. Rev's happier than a pet raccoon in a garbage can. He stayed with me for 2 nights. Women who have divorce parties and burn their dresses cry themselves to sleep. Yes, a woman's tears are only real when she's by herself. You run anytime you're dealing with the Karen. That is for sure. Did you ever watch the cartoon Hercules where he always has to put his ring? Yes, that was back in the 80s. We used to watch that. It was like on Saturday morning. I remember we had our TVs. We would watch 3 shows. A-Team, which I loved. And then we watched Little House on the Prairie. And then later it was MacGyver. And then sometimes Battlestar Galactica was on Saturdays, Or what was the other one? And Star Trek. My dad loves old school Star Trek. That was it. And then at 10:30 after the evening news, the television went snow. We didn't even have a remote control. I remember when a remote control, it was wired to the TV. Getting off topic here, but some of you old guys know what up. HR is mostly women because they're better at being backstabbing tattletailers, and they have issue running someone. Oh, they love to run people's lives. But isn't it interesting, Gone John, that they can't even run their own? If I can sum everything up in 3 words, this is the reason men and women do not get along, or cannot see eye to eye, or have a difficult time conveying each other's ideas. On the female side, I believe that lack of accountability, lack of responsibility is the reason. When you are not accountable and you can't take 100% accountability for what your actions are, your words are, what you've done, then you are a victim. And if you are a victim, you are a weak person in my book. Mysterio, was painting easy or hard? Depending on the house. I like painting because you could take a crappy looking house and in 3 days it looks brand new. So there's also like an emotional, like, wow, I did something cool, and they're excited about it. They write you a $6,000 check, and paint materials is $800, and you split it between you and your buddy, and you do the next one. I made a lot of money, and he's still running his company. He's making, I bet Jeff is probably making, he's got 4 crews. He's probably making $300,000 a year after everything. Boxer Lopez, about to lose it all in a divorce out of his own mouth. He said it, and he has a fight on Saturday. Wow, Ishii Banks. I hope he looks at his opponent and he imagines who he's going in divorce court against. HR is mostly women because they're better at being backstabbing. Yep, I said that. Well said, Gon. Absolutely. As kids, we were the remote control. Ain't that the truth? My dad would say, get up and change the channel to 2. We had 4 channels, 2, 4, 6, 8. And then 12 came out later. Fox 12 came out. We never got cable. Never got a VCR because my dad couldn't afford it. They were very expensive back in those days. 6 kids. We watched Lost in Space, Flintstones, and Scooby-Doo. Oh, yes. I did. We didn't watch a lot of Lost in, but Flintstones, Yabba Dabba Doo, and Scooby-Doo. Okay, I think I've said this before. My favorite character in the Flintstones is the little green Martian, Gazoo. Is it Gazoo or Kazoo? Funny as hell. So yeah, that was just some good times. Very difficult times. They were hard. The 80s were not easy times, folks. And I think those hard times allowed, I would say growing up, 30% of my friends came from divorced families. Let's say I had 10 friends. 3 of them were from divorced families. A lot of, and then later, we found out, others got divorced. But I still have friends from junior high and high school whose parents are still married. I'm like, wow. And they weren't from the same religion. They did something else in terms of careers, and they didn't have as many kids, 2 to 3 kids. I came from a family of 6 kids. I was second of 6. So it's interesting. But again, 5 a.m. cartoons. How about the Christmas specials? Every time Christmas came around, my mom would say, there's going to be a Christmas special. It'd be like Burl Ives, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That was my favorite one. When Rudolph, they made fun of him, and then the little guy, he's the dentist. I want to be a dentist. And then went to look for Yukon Cornelius, and they found the abominable snowman. If any of you guys know what I'm talking about. Yukon Cornelius captures the abominable snowman, and they go to the island of misfit toys. Oh, that's the best scene. Whoever wrote that was high as a kite. Did you ever watch the documentary Pray For Me? Yes. Yes, I did. I saw that actually a couple weeks ago. I worked on an event for the premiere. The other motorbiker guy in that video is really good friends with my buddy down in in Utah. I've actually met. In fact, I ran into Jeff, the guy that he's also riding the other bike. What are they? Saints and Sinners is their group. And yeah, Jason Jesse, interesting. He rips. He's one of my favorite. The guy, he's a little out there. Me and two of my friends were watching the Flintstones. One of my friends said, and good to have you, Ishi. Who is better looking, Wilma or Betty? We still laugh at today. We must have been like 12 years old. I'm going to go with Wilma. Yogi Bear, the Jetsons, Hanna-Barbera, attaboy. The TV was always on. Hee-haw, hee-haw, Dukes of Hazzard, Golden Girls at Grandma's house. She had 3 channels and her TV room was the size of a trapper keeper. Attaboy. Gone with John, that's funny. Gilligan, we used to watch Gilligan's. But now there's so much content out there. Like so many TV shows. It's inundated. We grew up, there was very few. And you had to wait. Remember To Be Continued with Dukes of Hazzard? They would jump the General Lee off a dirt bank, and in the middle, it'd be like, To Be Continued. Gosh, damn it, you have to wait another week. Boss Hog. Funny with painting, it's needed commodity. Someone will always need something painted, yeah. And now, get this. TVs that have to warm up. Attaboy. I remember those. Now they're using drones, painting drones, to paint buildings. You don't have to climb up on a ladder anymore. We watched Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Time Tunnel, Land of the Giants. Those were the days. No woke crap. Pure entertainment. Mel Brooks movies. Blazing Saddles. Spaceballs. They'd be canceled today. Bought a ticket to the Killers concert. No women, just me. MGTOW for life. Attaboy. I like Sam's Town, that CD Sam's Town. In fact, I play one of their songs. What's the one song? Da-na-na-na-na. Brandon Flowers. We had one television station that was a combo of the big 3 out of the Lufkin, Texas. We ran all of the appliances off of car batteries, pumps and wells. That's funny. You guys are coming. You guys are old school. Batman, Dream of Genie. I remember that. Brady Bunch. I told my kids we had to wait an entire year to see Rudolph because it was on TV only at Christmas time. I know. You had to wait. There was no VCRs. Now you can watch it on your phone. Daisy Duke. Daisy Duke, man, she was hot. Should she not get us all a little bit? She raised our blood pressure below the belt, didn't she? Sometimes staying married is more about habit than love. In commitment, acceptance. I don't think marriages that survive are based on like romantic love. True respect, true honor, true loyalty. A woman would drive Rev crazy in the Revmobile. And all these videos you see of these gals living in their vans, it's all fake. They live in their apartments and they go sit in there. They might do it on a weekend. That's it. Barbara Eden. There you go. Did you see Mel Brooks' History of the World? Yes, it still is funny. Lots of old guys in here. That's where we're at. I mean, and hopefully the young guys take advantage of what we understand. Yes, simplicity of life is a lot easier today. It's easy to book a plane ticket. Remember when you had to go to a travel agency and buy the damn, they had to go on their computer and look, and then, oh, we'll come back in an hour and we'll see if we can find you. So there are a lot of conveniences, but I think tech has also destroyed a lot of humanity, the emotional, mental part of humanity. The A-team, I'll pay the fool. Ain't no jibber jabber here. No jibber jabber. No, give me no of that jibber jabber. Murdoch would have to hit B.A. Baracus over the head so he'd fly. Some couples get married just because of boredom. Yeah. Or they want, a lot of couples, Patriots one, get married because they like to have that title. We're husband and wife. We're Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. We're married. We're not like a weirdo divorced people. We're not a weirdo single person. We're married. So it elevates their ego. Women gather in packs and hate on each other. Good to see men sharing information as a brotherhood. I don't think a lot of women like each other. You're damn right, Timmy. I can do so much 12 volt if need to be. We ran a 12 volt battery into a storage shed so we could use the light switch to turn the 12 volt light bulb on. There you go. Store that battery power. Attaboy. I'm old. Please don't get married. Not worth it, says Marty. I just don't see any benefits. I'm not anti-marriage. I see zero benefits. And so if I can't find any benefits, I'm not going to dip my toe in the water. I already did it. We used to laugh about Dick Tracy's video phone. Little did we know, Dick Tracy for 300 Trebek. Twilight Zone. Oh, I love Twilight. My dad liked the Twilight Zone. The show I used to like in the 90s was Mystery Theater 3000 or Mystery Science Theater 3000. That is the funniest show on Comedy Central. And I love Beavis and Butthead too. Well, this has been a good stream. You guys go out and make some shit happen today. Remember, the benefits of marriage are basically none. And the quickest way to become disposable is to get married, live with somebody, or have children. Because eventually that rears its head. Women are secretly competitive with each other. My ex-sister-in-law always tried to nail down a high-value guy, but couldn't ever get past a first date. Most of those guys she dated were married. I saw my ex-wife and her sisters fought all the time. There was definitely jockeying for power. Totally the best. And the Twilight Zone. All those videos, and how about the Beam Me Up, Scotty? All that crap was great. It came about. Some nerds like loved Star Trek. He's like, I'm going to make a flip phone, and it came to pass. I'll never marry again. Gone with John. I love Mystery Science Theater. I always liked it was always some B movie, like Edward Wood. Gotta watch Edward Wood's movie. He did those crazy 50s like science UFO movies, and he would make the UFOs out of like pie tins and stuff. He was a wacko. He's like a cult phenomenon now. Edward Wood. So they're watching this Edward Wood movie, and the tall, skinny guy's like, hey, they're doing it with their boots on. And the other guy's like, he's going to step in a mud puddle and probably get mud all up his backside, and someone's going to think it's something different. And then the human's like, yeah, you should be pretty protective about that because you can't get chicks. So damn funny. Whoever put that together is brilliant. Marriage is the leading cause of divorce. What's the number one cause of divorce? Marriage. Wow, hi Ronan. Married once. Once and done. And never again. You guys have been good. Rebel against defeat. We'll see you on the next one. Talk to you soon.